Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Marilyn. I'm coming to you from Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada, and I'd like to welcome you to my stamping class information session that I usually hold on a Thursday evening, but this week it's on a Friday evening because of conflict of schedules and whatever. I wasn't able to be here last night. So, as you can see on the screen, I'm going to be sharing some tips on using vellum. I've been asked by a couple of my stamping friends to show them a few things that they can do with their vellum that they've found in their stash. So I would like to share. I've got quite an array here on my desk that I want to share with you. So before I get into that, let me please come on, answer the question that I have on there. I usually have a question for you each week. Let me know where you're watching from. And I'm happy to report that in this part of the country, in Alberta, central Alberta, where I am in Spruce Grove, that we have warm weather today finally. So I'm tickled with that. It was 6 above, I think, when I was out earlier. So of course, all that snow that we had 2 or 3 weeks ago, it's now melting all over. And my white car is fast becoming a black car. So on this screen, you can see we have Zoom with friends each Friday. We had that earlier today. I'm going to share a card here in just a moment that I made there. We have 12 months of Christmas cards, the second Thursday of each month, and the third Thursday, which you can see if I take this out of the way, we have the monthly card class. So they're all on Zoom. Anyone is welcome to join. You just have to let me know so I can get the Zoom link to you and all the details. So let me show you those cards to begin with. Just a little bit different scenario here. This is the card I made today that Linda taught us, and it's called a bendy foldy card, a bendy fun fold card, sorry. Really quite easy to put together once you've got the sizes and everything figured out. So that was a great one, and it does stand up. That kind of has become one of our requirements for a lot of our cards. This one was from last week with our Zoom with friends, and it's a different design again, but you can see really as a little bookmark goes with it. So we do all kinds of different things there. These cards are from the class that I did yesterday afternoon, my monthly card class. So again, just a different layout. These are done with the arches that are currently unavailable with Stampin' Up, but they are coming back. So a neat little card again that stands up. This one is kind of a half fold card, I'm going to say, but again, using designer paper. And this one is one done with that set that's in the currently in the Celebration catalog that I ended up cutting 2 of these and then just switching the centers back and forth, and the ladies loved it. So just to give you an idea of some of the things that we do in those classes. So I'm going to pop over here so you can't see. I am talking to you. I'm here and enjoying every minute of sharing with you. So thank you for being here with me. I'm going to switch the camera to my desktop where I've got some vellum, and just pop over here to see what's happening in the comments. Hello, Roz. Hello, Linda. Hello, Kathleen, watching from Quebec City. Good to see you, Kathleen. Linda likes the arch card. Yes, it was quite neat when I watched the video on how to put that one together, Linda, so I'll have to show you sometime. Just a word, I see if you're on YouTube, you can see YouTube comments. If you're on Facebook, you can see Facebook. I can see both of them, and I will try to spotlight them like this so that everybody can see them. So thank you so much for joining, and please keep chatting with each other, answer the question if you feel like it. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's just there to give you something to think about as we go through what I'm going to show you. So, as I said, vellum is a unique kind of paper, I'm going to call it. Comes in a package like this, and unfortunately, as I was getting ready to do all of this, I couldn't find it anywhere in the catalog, and I had one of my ladies in the class say, I just looked it up and we no longer sell it with Stampin' Up. So maybe you're like some of the people that have asked me to do this. You've got quite a stash of it. There are 20 sheets in a package like this, and it goes a long ways, especially if you use it just for um, highlights. I'm going to say with that. I'm just going to spotlight this one because Linda is on Facebook, Kathleen is on YouTube, and Linda's commenting that, hi, Kathleen, so nice to see you're here. Yes, nice to see all of you are here. So to begin with, these are my couple of pieces that I've cut just of the plain vellum. You can see my hand through it. So it is quite thin. It's, I think somebody I was watching the other day said it was 43-pound paper, but it works well for what we're going to do. And this is some that Stampin' Up! Does have, at least I think it's still available, but it's a printed vellum. So it's a little bit brighter on one side than the other, but you could certainly use it either way. And this particular package did come with some die cuts that cut these out. So it was quite versatile, and you have it colored already. You didn't have to color it. But I'm going to just show you a number of things, and then I will demonstrate doing heat embossing on vellum. So Linda's answer to my question: coffee, crafting supplies, and a working furnace. Yes, a working furnace would be good for a survival kit. And Kathleen's functioning furnace, stocked fridge, and crafting material. I like your answers, ladies. And Stacy, hi, warm blanket, hot alcohol drink, and a good movie. Yes, so many suggestions. Keep them coming. I will go back and read them all afterwards if I don't find time to answer on here. So first of all, there are a number of inks that you can use. Let's see if I can get them in the camera. StazOn, which does need a StazOn cleaner when you use it. Memento, Versamark, or our regular stamp, classic stamps. Okay, so you can use any of them. I've got, like I say, a variety of things I'm going to show you with them. The Versamark, I am going to show you heat embossing because it's so neat. The classic one, and any of them, before you start with vellum, I strongly suggest, whatever you want to call it, that you do your basic stamping and then leave it overnight if you can, to dry, because let me grab something here that I can show you. I did this birthday from this new set with Memento. I thought, okay, Memento is one of the ones you can use. I left it probably, I'm going to say 3 or 4 hours. And let's see, how am I going to do this so you can see it? Like you can see, it's still smudged. But today, I did this 2 days ago actually, because I was going to do this class on Wednesday night and things changed there. It was still wet. So be careful with it. What I finally ended up doing was I brought a piece of white paper, just computer paper. I would stamp it, and then when I thought it looked dry, I would do this with it. And if it came off on there, I'd put it away again and let it dry. So you can stamp, and it works great with big stamps like that. If you want to put them behind something, in front of something, whatever, but you can stamp with that particular ink. Not going to do anything with those. The other thing you can do is with our regular classic ink. So I stamp this with this stamp, not just a stamp. And then what I like to do with it, once it's dry enough, is turn it over and color it from the backside with a marker. A marker gives you a more intense color. And really, because you're coloring from the backside, you don't necessarily have to stay in the lines. It will still look good because you can't see over those lines from the front. It does take a while to dry, so don't be running your hands over it after you've done this part even. It's because the vellum paper kind of has I'm not going to say a wax finish, but it certainly doesn't absorb it like your regular colors would. So again, don't know if you can see, it is wet and shiny on my end. And if I was to do this with it, you can see the ink comes off. Okay, so just to be aware of that. And when you turn it over, there's little white spots in there. If you want it colored more, you can turn it over and add some more color. So that's using a marker. If you want to color all over, you can use a blending brush. And again, you'll have a different look. And usually start with blending brush off the paper and come onto it. Okay, so that'll give you color on the front. Again, will probably be wet for a while. If you wanted to do it on the back side, basically do the same thing. Only it's probably, I'm guessing, going to be a little bit lighter. I really don't have, maybe this, if that shows you any better. It is a little lighter on the back side, which you can color on either side with your blending brush or with sponge daubers. Okay, so that's one of the first ones. Your sponge daubers, if you haven't seen them, this is what they look like. I'm just going to go back here and move this so I'm not. They don't come in a case like this. I'm lucky enough to have a friend who was who had a 3D printer and she wanted to make one to see how it would work, and she gave it to me afterwards. So that's what your sponge daubers look like. And I do have, yes, I have one for each color, and try to keep them alphabetical so that I can find them. But those work very similar to your blending brushes. Next, I have same idea, stamped with Memento black ink, turned it over, and I used blends. So I used the darker blend. Oh, okay. I'll just show you here. Because these are quite light blue, I just used a dark in the center of those flowers. Have you used Vellum? Very much. Hi, Ines. I know you were one of the ones that was asking about Vellum, so I'm glad to see you here. Then I took, this is on the back side again, I took Balmy Blue, it looks a lot darker than Balmy, or lighter, and just colored. You can use markers on it. Again, on the back side. And with the, not markers, the crayons. With the crayons or any of the colors you're using, you can add more color. So now I've got a little bit of the blend and some of the marker. Then I've got a blending pen, which is just clear. And when you use it, it softens everything and moves it all together, and like it just creates a much smoother look. And you know what? I think I'm on the right side there because my black ink was moving. You get the gist of it though. Isn't that interesting? We'll try a little bit over here and see what happens when I'm. So you don't have to be really particular about coloring. Just add your color, as many layers as you want, and then blend it with your blending brush, your blender pen. We've had these for ages, and sometimes I forget that I have them. Let's see how it pulls the color just in together. Yeah, I was on the wrong side to begin with, but try and mark from the back, or color from the back, because then you don't have, like I did here, I was coloring over and I ended up with the black running because of that. To clean these, all you do is just rub them like that, and then hope you can find the cap. So that's your crayons. So that's another way you can use vellum. This one, again with the arches. Hello, Marie. This one I used Stays On. Stays On dries faster on vellum. So you might not have to wait overnight like I did with the other. But I use Stays On, and the reason I have this arch border is because vellum, when you go to try and adhere anything, your adhesive is going to show through. So your glue marks, glue dots. Hello, Karen. Marie, sorry to miss Zoom today. Please post the cards. Yes, we had a great time with them. Karen, good to see pencil crayons used with the blender pen. Yeah, it's very smooth coloring when you do that, Karen. It worked really well. But just be aware, I'll just show you so I'm showing you some of the things that we've discovered over the years that don't work with vellum. If you put a glue dot on there and then you turn it over, try and get it so you can see it. You can still see it there. So what you try to do is if you're coloring like this and you're going to put this on something, is put your glue dot behind that and it won't show as much, or any of your adhesive, whatever you're going to put. Liquid glue will show through. So I decided on this one, I cut this arch, then I cut the vellum stamped image, that is vellum under there, the same size, and then I cut the white with 2 layers in between so that it did a frame and it would hold my vellum there. My intent was to show you that you could, if you had a little picture behind here, you know how I think we even did it for my daughter's wedding 20 some years ago, there was a picture of them behind a vellum kind of with embossed writing on it, I believe it was. And it showed through, like just the background of them and whatever, but through the vellum. So that's another way to use it. Then I took an embossing folder. Actually, I did 2 of them. I did this one. And what I really like about, I want to be able to showcase it. There, that's better. Is that when you run it through an embossing folder, it indents the vellum and causes it to have white edges. So that's where the white comes from there. There's no ink on this one at all. It's just the white edges from it going through the embossing folder. Hello, Betty. Good to see you. So you can do that. The other thing that, and I don't have one here, if you, like for these hearts or whatever, if you've got the right pressure, you can actually color. You can make the image turn white by using your stylus from your scoreboard. But I don't have one of those to show you, but that was a really neat design. Then I took this one, which you might recognize as the graduated circles. And I see on this particular one, I'm not sure I got them right, there is a tear. And it's right in here. And you'll find that on some of these are 3D ones. On some of the 3D ones, there will be too much pressure. So, I mean, this I would still use and color and whatever. And again, you can color it with whatever. Probably from the backside would be better. But if that happens to you, especially with the 3D one, sorry, Ines, which one are you talking about? Printing on the right side of the vellum. Was that the one with the arches? As in this one? This is on the right side of the vellum. It's done with Stays On, which dries a little bit faster, so I didn't have to wait quite as long. If you use Memento, you do have to wait pretty much, I'm going to say overnight. So hopefully that was the answer your question, answers your question, Linus. So, like I say, if it happens that it cracks like this, it's not a big deal. One time I know that I did spray it lightly with water. Oh, good, Ines. Glad that was it. So it makes it a little more pliable, but also I've discovered that you can run it through with a piece of cardstock behind it at the same time, which is what I did with this. Not only do you get a piece that doesn't break, oh, I shouldn't say that because there is some breaks in that one, but you also get this one at the same time. So you can use that for two different cards. So just try, each machine is different. We've always been told that with your cut and emboss machine. So the pressure is probably going to be different on what happens as it goes through your embossing folder. Okay, but it does emboss beautifully. And I mean, if I was using this on a card behind something, like having, I'm going to say more circles on it with stamped images and whatever, that those marks are not going, or those little breaks are not going to show. So it depends on your embossing folder. Then I have one that I'm going to show you, a technique using heat embossing. I love doing heat embossing anyway. It was one of my favorite things when I first started crafting. And this one I did with gold, and I will do gold again just to show you. When you do heat embossing with vellum, it's best to heat it from the back side. And on our, making sure my heat gun's plugged in, we have two settings. Use the lower one for the vellum. It might take a little bit longer, but it shouldn't cause it to curl and wrinkle so bad. So what I did for this card was I did my heat embossing. I turned it over and did my coloring. I'm going to show you that on here. And then to put it on the card, I used a strip on either side of Tearing tape. So that's another adhesive that you can use that if you cover it up like this, it's not going to show. So there's little tricks like that to learning how to work around that. So let's give this a try. Let me just get this stuff out of the way. I'm going to use this stuff for some mark. And I am going to use the embossing buddy just to try and help it. The other thing that I did this one, thinking of ways of adhering. This one, I am heat embossed with the silver. You can see how beautiful that turns out. Our embossing powders are amazing. And once it was cooled off and ready, I just put two glue dots behind it. So that hid the glue. You don't see it behind the vellum here. And it's going to keep it in place. So another way to use your adhesives on it. Okay, let's stamp this and get it done to show you the wow. With a big stamp, I always turn it over like this to ink it up. And because it is clear, it's kind of difficult to stamp them separately. So I put them both on one stamp. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see with the reflection, but you get the idea when I emboss it. And you see there, okay. So now I'm going to take my embossing powder, which I dump mine into these kind of containers. And I don't dump it all out if I don't have to. And then I'm just going to take my embossing powder and have it. And because the vellum, as we all know, or maybe we don't, but we've been told the vellum doesn't dry very fast, so therefore you don't have to hurry with it. You see a little bit there, but I need a little bit more. And because it's so staticky, and especially here in Alberta, it is so dry, as Linda and I have discussed quite often. That's why her skin looks like it does, you know? So once it's covered like that, I'm going to turn this on low, and I am going to let it warm up a little bit. Not near as much as I do when I'm doing card heat embossing. And then, try it, hold it so you can see it and see when the magic happens. Isn't that neat? So you can just move it along, and it's not going to burn my fingers near as much. And I find that, I don't know, the heat tool, it must not shoot the hot air out exactly where I think it should, because I'm always in the wrong place with it. But isn't that just a wow? And as you see it turning solid gold instead of like a powdery gold, you know that it has been heated, and it will stay put. And you can go back like that little spot, which looks like it needs a little bit more there. And that's it. So really, that's not very long in the big scheme of things. It is a bit, maybe not quite as flat as it used to be, as you can see. So now what I would do with it, I've got some other colors here, and I'm just going to quickly show you what I did on that other one. Was just color between the lines as best I can, alternating my colors and then allowing it to dry. So tell me, as you're chitter-chattering along here with me, have you done any of these? Is there anything else you've seen with vellum that you'd like to share with us as to what works, what doesn't work? You can cut it with your paper trimmer. You can cut it with dies. I'm going to show you a couple dies that I cut to use just as background fillers on some of the cards. It works really well. And like I say, we don't have the plain vellum for sale anymore, but I'm sure most of you probably have some in your stash. And if you're like me, when you can find it, I'd love to see what kind of cards you will make with it. So then I'm going to I know these aren't really ice cream colors, but I wanted to have a difference to show you. And you could use the other end as well, but I found, in the essence of time, of course, the brush end seems to work better. And just around. And then when I turn it over, it's a soft, because vellum is soft, but it looks to be like a rainbow ice cream or something. So well, thank you, Linda. Linda says it's beautiful. She'd like to try that. One of the biggest things with it is to remember not to heat it too fast and too hot, because it will curl. Like even this is curled a little bit, but then you can make whatever I did with that card. Oh, it's right here in front of me. Sorry. Um, you can finish it off like this, or you could put a darker color behind it. Like there's ah, good. Marie likes using vellum. Okay, any other hints, Marie, on what we can use? Um, Pam said totally forgot about this technique. It's one of those things, like you say, unless you pull it out, and I probably wouldn't be doing anything like this if it wouldn't have been that Sharon and Ines had asked me to show something they could do with it. And Sharon, I didn't see you on here. I hope you're watching, or I hope you watch the replay. So back to the beginning. I see some of you saying that you missed the beginning. My biggest takeaway for you in the beginning was stamp it and go away for a day and then come back to it, because otherwise you end up with it not being totally dry. Ines, now to find some clear vellum. I'm sure you're going to be able to find it, Ines, even if it's in that M store, or anywhere. I'm sure it's around. Amazon probably has it. I haven't even looked at that. So that's that one, this one. Now, the things I wanted to show you were you can use it to soften dark images just by cutting another one and laying it over. That's another die cut one that I did there. Same with this one. And this one was interesting because I thought, oh, look, there's the gold. You can put it on top, you can offset it, or you can put it right on top, or you could put it on the back on the green and just really soften that green look with it. And I did have a Christmas card. I have a picture of it, but I don't have the card anymore, where I took pieces like this. Again, I'm trying to show you on here. If you die cut pieces like this and just tuck them in behind, see if there's something here I can give you an idea. If you were to just tuck it in, it just gives you a real soft feature on your cards. So lots of things there. This is a card that we made a few weeks ago in our Friday Zoom, and this is what I did with mine. Was I cut a piece of vellum for the butterfly and put it behind. And if I had a tea light, you could put a tea light down in there and it would show through. Yes, check the craft stores, Marie says, for the vellum, Ines. That's always a good idea. Yep. And so that, and then this is one I received last year, and all these are shimmery colors cut out in leaves, and this is stamped, I'm going to say probably with stays on and left to dry, but it's just across. Let's see if I can get it so you can see it. A piece of vellum that goes across there. So you don't have to do a lot. You don't have to do a full card base like this. You can do just pieces of it. Okay. So thanks for your commenting. I really appreciate all your comments and appreciate you being here with me on such an unscheduled time. But just a couple more things to share with you. These are a couple cards I received, and they're beautiful. But look at this neat design, how it opens. Thank you, Gail. Gail's on here with us tonight. A really neat die that you have, obviously, with the holes like that. And this one is from Tina and Jordan. And again, done with designer paper, those circles, that's in this same set. And the birds die cut. So just, there's so many different card designs and things that we can do that I love sharing them. So thank you for asking for this one, because it certainly made me do a lot of research and look. And like I say, if there's anything else that I can answer for you on that. And last week we did envelopes because we're trying to use up designer paper, right? So this card fits in this one. That's what I did the draw for, and the winner is Catherine. So that will be coming to you, Catherine, before too long. So I don't think I had anything else to do with vellum to share with you there. It was really a learning curve for me as well. Thank you for asking for it. And hopefully I'll be back to my regular Thursday night lives next week. And hope you'll all be here and share whatever you can with me, wherever. I love hearing from you, whether it's emails or whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. I do check everything. So take care, everyone. Bye now.